Right, I've done a change in the design a bit on this part that will sort of go underneath the bed to change the way the bed can be adjusted using these nail nuts. These are extremely difficult to get in at these if I need to adjust the bed. So hopefully you see this one. Try and get some, just a second, let me try and get a bit of light on it a bit better. So in the previous design, this hole here is for the spring. The spring was sort of at the background here, but I've decided to put it at the side, which is more in line with the bolt. A bolt will go through there and fasten it to the bed. This will stick out the front of the bed, this arm, and then there'll be a bolt sort of screwed down into a T-nut. That's what I plan to put into there, T-nut. And then I can adjust it from above to adjust the bed up and down. This notch here is for the tie wraps, because our tie wraps holding on the linear bearings. A bit of a sort of indent there for the head of the bolt that will fasten it to the bed. So basically, like that's the right hand side for the front. Sorry, left hand for the front, similar to this, but mirror image. Then there's two back pieces, so there's 4 pieces altogether. The back pieces need a longer, like, arm stretching out on it. About 3 hours to print this, just this one piece. Printing in PLA. Trying to show you the settings here. So we've got 200 on the nozzle, 30 on the heat bed. Yes, I have the temperature on the heat bed. 50% on the fan there. Notice the fan is on half speed with my settings anyway. So that's PLA. I do have Elmer's glue stick on this borosilicate glass, sorry, and it sticks extremely well, almost too well. I have to, well, not whack it too much, but give it a good couple of sharp whacks with a spatula right on the bottom edges before it will come off, even after the bed's cold. So that's PLA there. Okay, I'll come back. I might try and show you this getting released off the bed, to show you how easy or how hard it is, depending how you look at it. But you want good adhesion, even with PLA, I think. I have printed ABS on this bed, but at the moment I'm back to using PLA for a bit. PLA will do most of the things I want. The only advantage I think with ABS, really, well, one advantage is that with ABS you can acetone parts together, sort of weld them together. That does a good job. Some say super glue gel type stuff is good for PLA. I haven't tried that. If you want to put parts together, that is not needed with this part. These parts I'm printing up now. So as I said, there's 4 parts to this. The longer arm bits that are needed for the back take 4 hours. This part takes near enough 3 hours, probably a bit longer actually. Okay, that's enough of that. 30% infill, by the way, before I forget. Right, I'm preparing this aluminium sheet I have. 275 by 275, 4mm. Now these are guillotine cuts, so they do have sharp edges. So I've been using this file, flat file, just sort of going along the edge at a bit of an angle, gently sweeping motion. And then I've used some emery cloth I have. This is the stuff I'm using, 1,500. I mean, that's just because I had that spare and sort of going over the edges a bit, also taking off any sharp corners off. So that's pretty smooth, that corner now. No, just feeling with my fingers. Be careful because these can be very, very sharp indeed, these edges. This is my jobber, Black & Decker jobber, had it a long time. It's on a baby bath stand, an old baby bath stand. They have sort of wing nuts and balls put through some holes in the bottom there. But when I put this in, this does come with these metal jaws, but I took them off so not to damage the aluminium sheet on the metal there. So you can see gloves might be advisable because you get aluminium dust or whatever when if you're doing particularly this sort of emery cloth. But as I say, took the corners off a little bit with a file. So that's that stage. You can see the aluminium filings there. Right, I'm going to hoover them up, get them up, and then I'll come back for the next stages. So here's my sort of printer bed. 2 sheets of aluminium here. I think I've discussed this already. Some cork, cardboard, heat mat, aluminium sheet and borosilicate glass on top. This is borosilicate glass is fastened on here with these balls and some like clips. I'll try and remember to put a card about that on here. So I'm going to take this off. I'll probably do that off camera, because if you look, I'll try and put a card about putting this together. But basically the idea here is to have this bigger sheet. This is a bigger sheet I've just been filing down there, like sticking out a bit further forward here, and then there'll be nail like thumb screws on the top, and they'll screw into a fastening on some extensions I've got to come out underneath. So I'll probably do all this off camera. So I might do this sort of stage by stage. I've took off the glass bed. There's a sort of heat mat on an aluminium sheet there. Just a second. So you can see that. Really good, very helpful, this service. I'll put a link on. So there's just this piece of graph paper on this aluminium sheet. I've printed out on a normal inkjet printer. Some sheets of cardboard. That go down there. Some sheets of cardboard with cutouts for the like pads on the heat mat. Piece of cork and 2 sheets of aluminium. I needed 2 sheets of aluminium to trap these sort of T-nuts that I've flattened down. They're like go in the wood, they have prongs on, but I flattened the things down and put them between here to stop them moving about. Needed 2 sheets, but with this new idea I'll only need 1 sheet. But the main problem here is these are the adjustable nail nuts, and they're extremely hard to get in there, especially if that's back and the nozzle's here. Trying to get the zero here, and you've got this stepper here, and there's another one, where is it, somewhere down here. So even like as it is here, it's very hard to find it and get it at it. So the idea here is to extend this plate out further and then have these adjustable sort of nail nuts coming from the top, which are going to be easier to get to if it all works out. So that's a sheet of cork on here, but then it's got that cardboard on top I showed you. That works very well. Well, I've undone the 4 sort of balls which actually screw into. These are like T-nuts. There's some super glue and I've forgotten the powder. I'll put the name down. You mix it with some powder and it goes pretty hard. But I've tried putting some aluminium glue between these 2 aluminium sheets, and it didn't do all that well, because sometimes when I'm screwing the screws up or whatever, it's pulling the sheets apart. these two aluminium sheets. So these are some parts I did print out earlier, and this is like a T-nut here. Just a second. Well, I put the 4 T-nuts in. What I did is actually put them on the bolt like this, maybe out a bit. This is one I've done already, but knocked it out with a hammer. Had to hit it quite hard to get out actually. And then heated this up just on the gas thing about 20 seconds or so, carefully trying to line the prongs up so as I say they're diagonal to the layers. Just press it in gently, stick it under a tap, put in some cold water, make sure it cools down quite quick so that doesn't get bent. If it does go in crooked, what I found is you can say I put this in, and just a second, I'll move this out. I would get the bolt out something like this, heat the end of the bolt up and the heat will spread along. It'll take quite a few seconds, and then you can reline it up a bit and then quench it in cold water. Okay, so basically you have to put this is sort of upside down to as the bolt will, well, it won't be probably these bolts anyway I'll be using, but upside down to what the bolts would be to a certain extent. So put the 2 short ones on the front, 2 long ones on the back. These holes here, as I say, for the springs, just pop in loose. Does have a sharp edge, so put the sharp edge at the bottom. And then basically the plate will go on here and screw into these T-nuts that I put in. So these I found them a bit awkward. I do have locking, like nylon locking nuts underneath, well, washers on. 4mm, about 40mm long, these balls, hex head. Because the nylon locks, it doesn't grip in here, so I had to get some long nose pliers. There is a slot in here, and it does have a, well, you can have a bit of movement if you need it, backwards and forwards, so to speak, on that slot. These do have cutouts underneath. That's for these like tie wraps. That's like a tie wrap going on a linear bearing. So there's a cutout in the side there. They've all got cutouts, even though some of them don't really have the tie wraps there. But those are alright. What I've done is put a short bolt coming upwards like that, and I just like put a pencil mark on top, so get quite a bit of graphene sort of on top. Got some adhesive labels that's stuck on here. I've already done the 2 front ones and lined it up and then pressed quite firmly, squeezing like from below, and that left a shiny little like pencil mark on there with the graphene that was on the top edge of the balls. That I've done across. I'm going to centre punch them. I drilled them out to 3mm, then to 5mm. The balls are 4mm, so that's going to give a little bit of like freedom. So there we are. This is only like to line up the holes. I've got the balls coming up as I showed you from below. Next stage is, well, basically just to put a bolt coming down from the top with the nail thing on and screwing into these. So I'll have to take these out. Right, I think so it'll be like about this height. And that will be cut off level with that. And then this would give me like that, at least that amount of adjustment, sorry. I think this is going to be the best way. So I've got even on these, and if I get some longer springs, I've raised these up like in the holes, which I could do the bottom of them in the holes, put some like padding under there. I mean, this could on a longer spring, see, actually even on this spring it almost, but on a longer spring you can go higher, so that would give me quite a bit of adjustment there. It does tend to grate a bit about against the aluminium sheet, the threads, but so did the other one I had. Okay, I'm about to cut these balls for like the up-down adjustment. And what I'm going to use is one of these. About the only thing they're really good at is for cutting balls. They have various sizes here. So always bolt them in from this side, and I tend to do quite a good job because I do have threads on this side. Quite often you can do it by hand. Right, I'll cut out some of this while I thread that in a bit. Now basically I want a bolt 38mm long, so you have to allow for the thickness of the, sorry I'm doing everything upside down here as well, like the metal here. This is about the nearly of 3mm. If you want accuracy, measure it. So I have to allow 3mm off. That's nearly of 35. Doesn't have to be precise. What I'm going to do, actually what I normally do, I'll put this, because a thick bolt like this, there's no way I'm going to do it by hand. You know, you're supposed to squeeze that and that'll cut it. But what I normally do is, so I'll put a towel like this on the floor. I'll cover over it in case the bolt flies out. I'll put some extra bits on the back of the handle, and you can feel the handle there. Then I'll kneel down, this will be on the floor, and I'll put my whole weight with my knee pressing on here. And quite often that cuts, but this 4mm is quite a biggish bolt, so I'm going to use this jobber, which is like a vise, and then I can use a leverage of that. Now normally I would certainly put a towel over it just in case the bolt does fly out. I've never known them fly out. But for this video I'm going to zoom in on this if I can. Remember, I'm doing everything upside down here and back to front and all sorts. Right, and I'm going to tighten this handle. I have a handle here that will squeeze the two jaws here, and I'm using the jaws of this vise to actually squeeze it closed. Well, look like a vise thing, this jobber. I don't know if you can see that, that's already bending. I'll just do the other side a bit to keep these jaws can move independently to a certain extent, just to keep it somewhere. And basically that's cut through now. See, generally, and see how that's chopped, just dropped off. And because this is threaded here, this top hole, that's why you have to push it this way. They do normally have markings on here, but this, I've had this so long that they've come, most of them come off. I can unscrew that. I can unscrew that, and that's hasn't damaged the thread of the end of the bolt. That's one really good thing. These are for cutting wires, so to say, and a terminal thing for spark plug, I think it is, and crimps. So I'll put like this, a black washer, I think comes with these, quite a thinnish one, and then I put a 4mm sort of washer on this side, and this side there's enough space there to put like a 4mm nut underneath, and tighten that up against the back of this T-nut under here, so that this bolt won't like turn when you're turning an air nut, which is possible. So just screw that out a bit, just so I can get this. Sorry, I know my fingers are getting in the way. So we get this nut just so that the threads are just maybe touching this other side. I can just feel it them, and I'm screwing it back up. What I want is this to almost tighten against this T-nut up here. So I'm just making sure that the edge of it is, yep, that's turning. So that is like making this bolt here really tight. So even if this is getting turned, well, we'll be getting turned for adjustment. It's not just going to turn the bolt, and I do that on each side. So can I show you? So the way that locks that bolt onto the T-nut thing there. And then I've got the, that's the noise of the spring, I think. That should be okay. So this is pretty much how it's going to look from the top, and I can adjust this nail nut. You might see this gap closing a bit there. Might have to straighten this spring up on this side a bit. And then I can slacken this off to raise the height. See the gap opening up. So this is getting higher. So that's okay. That's how I'm going to do it. As I said, I might want to put like a almost a plastic dowel that I'll print out in the hole underneath the spring to raise the spring up a bit more, to push it a bit higher. I think that should be okay. That's as good as I can get. So that's, oops, knocking tripod here. So that's sort of at the back. Now the only way I have to reach sort of over the smooth rods of the carriage here, and then it is possible for me to reach that nail nut and round there on that side. I mean, before basically it would have been virtually impossible to reach it, but now it is easier, not perfect. Well, you know, it's probably as good as I'm going to get. Just show you that one on the other side. Obviously the front ones are going to be pretty easy, so it's pretty much the same here. I can reach round, and I can feel this nail nut round here, and I can quite easily turn it. So that's the level, that corner, the front ones. Well, I'll just briefly there's a front right one, easy to do, front left one will be easy to do. So that's oops, one thing is that actually, because this bed bottom plate comes out a bit further forward, is that it knocks my display unit sometimes. Now I might be able to just push the printer, the whole printer back a bit. I'll have a look at that later. I want to finish this video off here. I'm not going to actually level this bed yet. So what I've done, so you can see underneath.